when I was thinking about sitting down and talking to you, the first thing that really came to mind was, yo, why hip hop? I don't know why that was like the biggest question. Because when I talk to like Ice or certain people, like I really expect them to know about hip hop because they're really engulfed in that.
Right.
And then when I talk to you, like our conversations are more broad than just
for sure. But you're more musical than just hip hop too, or R&B. Like you can talk hip hop, you can talk jazz, you can talk a bunch of different shit.
That's you as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like people don't highlight that enough, or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just because a part of like just a big hip hop platform.
Yeah, that's what it is. And like I said, the bigger records, the bigger platforms are hip hop, and that's my shit. So I'm not even mad at it. You feel me? Like,
have you ever felt like you were? I always go back to the Lord Jamar thing with Eminem.
Yeah.
I've never looked at you as a guest to the culture, right?
Okay.
To even want to ask that question to me is a little weird. But have you ever felt like you are a guest in hip hop or like into the culture?
Yeah, but maybe like a reoccurring character. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am a guest, you know what I'm saying? But I think I've been here long enough and I've done enough shit on my track record, and
you gotta have a room.
I got, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta play my name on it and shit. But like, I feel like I've always been very respectful to the culture too, where like I don't think you could really question my motives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not like doing I'm just gonna hop in here, then move over and start doing pop records and fuck hip hop. Like, even when I have like back to the initial question, like even though I'm doing Mary records or whatever that are Grammy nominated, even though I'm helping people with shows that are not in hip hop at all, it doesn't get highlighted, and I don't necessarily avoid the highlight, but I'm not mad at the fact that my basis will always be in hip hop, because that's what I love. And the beautiful thing about hip hop to me that kind of gets understated is that it's really all cultures. Which is what the flyest thing in the world about hip hop is to me, is that it's taking shit from rock, from funk, from soul, from R&B, from all this shit and putting it together. So even of itself, hip hop culture is an amalgam of all the fucking cultures.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. I always wondered too, like, what was your like first introductions to music? Like, put hip hop aside. If hip hop was the first introduction, and whatever.
Pops was he had a big vinyl collection, and he was into like folk music, like political folk music and blues mostly, and some rock stuff. He had like some Beatles records and some Stones records.
A lot of James Taylor playing in the crib.
James Taylor, Bob Dylan, Richie Havens, Emmons, like fucking Judy Collins and like folk shit, and then like I said, more blues like Robert Johnson, B.B. King, Albert King, Buddy Guy.
So the pops initially is like your real introduction.
Yeah, for sure.
Just having it around, maybe having it playing it for you, but
and it was dope to like go put that was a big thing, like to go put the record on the
play it right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when he let you do that, you'd be watching, make sure you don't scratch the record and anything like that. But that was my shit.
You remember your first record? Like I remember the first record I ever put on. Like I know people say, do you remember your first album you purchased?
Yeah.
Remember the first? I remember the first vinyl I ever put on a vinyl player and played as my like introduction to just falling in love with just that process. You remember the first joint you played?
Yes, it was Beatles Help, and that's might be my first memory in life. Like really that I can really remember. You know what I mean? I remember like little shit about like the daycare that I was at, or like hanging out with my sisters, or
core memories
for sure. That was a core memory. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's dope. What was that? What was the household like? Because you talk. I mean, you've had phases. You had the Elmira phase. I think you said you lived in Chicago.
I do. Yeah.
You went. So like, what was the Elmira phase to Chicago? Was that the second place you went to after?
That was the second place. Well, I guess college was upstate New York, but I was still I had an apartment up there, but I still was home working on the weekends because I worked at my sister's bar. I guess a pretty normal American middle class type family. Mom and dad, sisters in the house. No major drama. You know what I mean? Obviously, shit happens to every family, but it was, I don't like have trauma of mom and dad fighting and stuff like that.
So that's just you and your sisters?
Just me and my sisters, yeah. And one of my sisters is 13 years older than me, so she was moved out by the time I had any formative.
You're the baby?
Huh?
You're the baby of the family?
I'm the baby, yeah. And then my other sister, she went to a private school. She was like getting bullied, I guess, or whatever at school. So she went to a private school for high school. So for most of my high school life, I was as close to a single kid as you could be. Only child for a little bit, for 4 years or whatever. But 4 years that she was around.
You was happy as hell to leave the crib when we did, or you missed it? You did that
When I left?
when you left.
Nah, it wasn't that. It was more about lack of opportunity in town. You know, I love my hometown, but I wanted to be in music, and it wasn't gonna happen.
Elmira, yeah.
It wasn't gonna happen from there.
I lived in Rochester for a bit.
Yeah.
It's not too vast difference, but I understand that. I felt like when I was younger growing up, I needed to leave the crib to get my own experiences.
Yeah.
Even not just in personally, just in music.
Right.
I needed to go out there and venture the world. When you went from Elmira to upstate and then to Chicago, what was like a big cultural shift for you?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously, it's a whole different fucking world. But I mean, Elmira I think it was, when I was there, 30, 40,000 people, which is very small compared to a big city, but it's not tiny. Like when I went to school, it was like 5,000 people in that town. So I know what that looks like. And so it was definitely a cultural difference, but it was a dope cultural difference. It was like both Chicago and when I first moved to New York, it was like, oh, there's all this shit. You feel me? Like my first shit I probably was doing was like going record shopping or something like that, because I was already into that. So I was like 21 maybe when I moved to Chicago. So I was already making records and doing a lot of shit, but just the fact that I could go to multiple record stores and find all this rare fucking soul records or whatever, like, was kind of mind blowing.
You was just from early, just all engulfed into music. Like, what was normal Parks? Like, without remove the music. Like, what was young Parks like?
What was I into? Is it like a kid? Damn, it's been music for at least, I would say, like third grade or something like that I was like really obsessed with music. Yeah, like reading the credits on the records and figuring out what all these instruments are. This is pre-internet, you know what I'm saying? So you had to figure shit out. I guess before that, I was into cars. My dad was into cars, so I was like, you know, he had all the car magazines, and I'd be like looking up the stats of the cars and all that shit, which I guess is similar theoretically to like looking at credits and obsessing over shit. It's still obsessing over fucking shit. Same mentality.
Did your parents ever have like any push for you to do something else? Like, were they always supportive about the music?
Super supportive. To the point where I had fucking all types of convicts and criminals coming to the crib making round records till 4 o'clock in the morning. Women, you know what I mean? We're drinking, smoking, the whole shit, and they were cool with it because it was cool. Like, everyone was mad respectful and cool, so they were always supportive of it.
They knew it was your passion too.
They knew it was my passion. They definitely encouraged me to like go to college to have like a backup plan or some level of, I'm not just winging it. But they never tried to dissuade me from music at all. But they, even with everything in life, like when I got my first bike, they made me like do chores and go
To earn it, yeah.
hit the neighborhood, mow lawns, shovel sidewalks. Like I had to pay for shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even with like music equipment, like I had to buy that shit. Like they wouldn't just. I guess maybe my first guitar, my grandpa bought me. That was like a little $100 guitar. It wasn't nothing fancy. You know what I mean? Like, but other than that, anything else I wanted, I had to go.
Hustle, yeah.
I had to hustle. Get to it. So they supported me, but they also supported like independence and like earning shit.
I wanted. So like when I first met you, I want to say what, man? How you been? 2009ish, maybe.
Yeah,
Right,
that sounds somewhere. Like,
You were working out of VMD.
yeah.
I'm not familiar if you just started initially engineering for Joe.
So
I feel like I'm trying to, like, even on the ride here, I was trying to remember, yo, when did Parks really start officially? Like, I remember getting there and you would be in certain sessions. And then at a certain point, I felt like, who was the initial introduction to us?
Like who was at the studio?
Yeah, like how do we all get familiar with each other? Because I know from me and Joe came from Jersey, working out of Bennett Studios.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, you started working at D&D.
Yeah.
And then you just came into the fray like this.
So I'll tell you, I mean, shout out to Charles Roan, Charles the mixologist,
Charles
from GC.
Charles.
He had the A room at D&D. It was Partners with Frame. And I met him when I was working at Manny's Music, which was a Sam Ash subsidiary in Midtown. Super legendary store, but it was secretly owned by Sam Ash for the past however many years. Anyway, I met him there. I asked for an internship. He let me rock out.
At D&D.
At D&D. And I hated that job. So I kept pushing him like, yo, hire me, like, for real, for real. And then Royce and Preem were working on the Street Hop album. Preem was executive producing it, and Joe came in to do a feature. But Joe and Charles had met. They had a studio. Charles had a studio in Jersey with, I forget, with some other producers. I can't remember who it was, but he had a studio over there and had met Joe back in that era. Mm-hmm. So they already kind of kicked it off, and Joe liked the sound of the room and the vibe and all that shit. He wanted to start coming there, and he had whatever falling out he had with Bennett Studios at the time. And that was right around when I was trying to quit my job, basically. And Charles was a busy man. He was doing the BET Awards and all types of music direction shit. So he didn't want to do sessions. Most people don't really want to do recording sessions after a certain point. You sit in the studio for 8 hours, listening to the same beat on loop.
I get it.
I wanted to, because I was 22 or whatever and hungry, 23, whatever age I was. So he was like, if you want to do the sessions, he can rock out here. And that was right around when Slaughterhouse was forming. So I'm like, and I told him this, like, yo, this would be good because he's doing his solo shit. And then Slaughterhouse is a thing, so it could lead to more business. And it did. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of let me take over the reins of doing the sessions. And he would come in if something needed to be, you know, he was a master. He was an expert. So if something you need his assistance, he would come and do it.
I want to focus in on Cream a little bit too, because I feel like your relationship with Cream doesn't get talked about enough. First off, anytime I get to even mention being around Cream or working with Cream, it's like that's a legend, Kirkhouse icon status. That's not somebody's name that you just float around. But you work so close with Cream. Like, do you ever get caught in that? Because you're a hip hop head.
Yeah.
Do you ever get caught in that moment? Like, yo, I'm really working your Cream. Like, is that faded at this point?
But yes and no. Yes and no. I grew up fucking admiring, worship. This sounds lazy, but whatever. I don't do.
Yeah, no.
Like Preem, RZA, Havoc, all those guys were like my idols and shit.
They were.
So I was intentionally trying to get to headquarters. I used to call back in the day, like, yo, can I get a job? Fuck out of here. You know, like, hang up on me, all that shit. I remember I had a whole chart of all the studios in New York with the phone number and email and all that shit. This is, again, pre-internet, so you had to, like, rank shit down.
It was on house.
And I, like, had it crossed out because I called so many times. They were like, no, we're not. Bro, stop calling here. We're not hiring. So I never take for granted that I get to work with Preem. But at the same time, it is funny because me and Preem were so close.
Yeah.
That he'd just be calling me about regular shit, and we'll just be talking on the phone for hours. And he came and DJed my wedding, and, you know, he comes to hangs out when we have parties sometimes. And so it's a little bit of a trip, but I'm always honored to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Affiliated with him in any way.
Yeah, like I'm 100% not to get on the glazing joint, but I'm a hip hop head.
Right.
So I remember that first time I had like a regular conversation with Cream.
Right.
I was like, I'm talking regular with
yeah,
like,
bro.
It's a privilege to meet your idols at a certain point and then also get the respect from them as like I see you as, I won't say equal, but creatively, like I
respect your opinion.
Yeah, like that to me was fire. So I always wondered, like, do you ever have that moment where you kind of like gotta pull yourself back and like, yo, I'm really here. Like I really set out what I wanted to do. I got there. And not only did I get there, like I've sustained, I built relationship with these people.
For sure.
And
I mean, especially shit, we're working on the Nas album now. So like being in the studio with Nas and Freeing was a fucking,
like now you just showing off.
It's like, yeah. I was thinking about like, damn, 15-year-old Parks would be losing his mind. Like this shit worked. This shit worked.
How much confidence did you have that at 15 years old, like how much confidence that you had that you would get to, like, did you see it? Like, was there ever a point where you're like, yo, I don't know if this is going to work?
I didn't see it the same way. I thought I was going to be the next RZA or whatever. Like I had a crew of MCs. I thought it would be more producing. But I was always pretty confident because like, even just little shit, and you probably went through this too, like winning talent shows and like
Mm-hmm.
having some older people in the city or the community or whatever ask you to come perform a thing or whatever, or just, you know, people's older brothers or older uncles or whatever coming up like, oh shit, you're part of it, you make the beats, like. So I had those. I mean, thank God for all those people. They boosted my confidence through the roof. So I never really had a lack of faith in my own confidence ever. You know what I'm saying? It was just a matter of, especially being from upstate New York. I mean, we had Tommy Hilfiger was from there, but we didn't have so many examples of
Success. Yeah.
success, especially in this field. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was no blueprint. There was no OG. There was, you know, I feel like I often think about, like, if I would have grew up in New York or whatever, but I use New York as an example, like, you know, someone that knows someone that's cousin or fucking uncle or older brother or whatever is still the blank. That didn't exist up there. There was no 6 degrees of separation to get to Preem or whoever. So that was always daunting, but I was always willing to fucking grind, bro. And like, I would go to shows back in the day and fucking wait outside and try to catch the artist or the DJ or someone and give them a demo and try to chop it up or get some contact information or something. So I was always, I'm gonna figure out a way, bro. Like, I'm gonna get in here somehow.
Do you think you got heard enough as far as like just like now, like the biggest thing that came to mind of them even just wanting to do content and wanting to talk to people? There's certain people that I are just talking all the time. It's like you feel like those are easy people to sit with. You, it's just like, yo, I feel like we never hear enough of you talking about yourself or the things that you've been through, the way that you even got here. Just, I feel like people got to see Parks and experience him in that one designated way, so they got comfortable with just, oh well, he's great with the one-liners,
right?
But it's like, no, you have so much more to offer. Do you ever feel like you don't give enough? You feel like you have to hold back? Is it comfort to hold back?
So, okay, that's a great question. I feel like my introduction to the podcast in general, back with the old crew, I was always off camera and kind of the fourth Beatle or whatever the fuck you want to say. So I kind of got comfortable in that role, but I've also been a team player and I realized people's strengths and weaknesses, and I'm okay with deferring in the podcast space. That being said, it is a lot of us there, so it would be nice if the ball moved around a little bit better, but we got some ball hogs, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Kobe was a ball hog, he's amazing. Michael Jordan was a ball hog, he's amazing. So it would be nice to get more shots up, but I'm also okay with not getting more shots up. I guess the only time where it becomes funny, and sometimes it comes out in the audio, but if we're like arguing music, some people it's like,
yeah,
I'm telling you something, yeah, because like I did this, yeah. Or Joe would be the same way. He'll even pull me aside sometimes and go, "Thank you for saying that," because like
it needs to be said.
Sometimes it needs to be said, yeah. Especially in the podcast space. And these gentlemen don't mean no harm. They've been around it enough to have valid opinions, but then there's certain like layers of depth in the music shit where it's like, all right, bro, like let us handle that. Yeah. You, me, Joe.
Yeah, I handle that. I understand that, and there's certain moments where I could. I won't say visibly see. I feel like I'll say that. I feel like I've visibly seen you at certain moments want to like do that, but then have to defer. Okay, you know what? The ball's moving around the way it needs to move.
Yeah.
Let me just go ahead because I feel like I kind of come from the team player thing as well in a certain way. But I'm also learning now as I get a little older and more in depth to this, even now trying to venture off and do this, like sometimes you
gotta take the ball.
Sometimes you need to take the ball.
Absolutely.
Just even getting a moment to highlight your brain, not just on music, because that's also the simple way of saying, well, this is your role. You're the
sure.
You have so much intelligence and so much knowledge on a vast multitude of topics.
Yeah.
That I feel like there's moments like, hi, Parks, like say more than like.
No, you're right. I part of that is the team player. I mean, part of it is I'm not really that long-winded of a person in general. And then the third thing is sometimes it's some shit where I feel like I do need to shut the fuck up when they're talking about kids or raising kids. Even though I do feel like sometimes it's unfairly shit on for like me and Mel to chime in, because like we still can have like opinions on this.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, shut the fuck up, you don't have kids. And it's like, I
Yeah.
still have an opinion, and I like have been, not that it's the same, but like helped other people raise kids. I've been with women with kids. I have nieces and nephews. Like I'm aware of some shit, but I'm okay with shutting the fuck up at the same time, because I also feel like, you know, it's a lot of mics to go around. So the same way in a music talk, maybe I don't want to hear from someone else. I'm okay with shutting the fuck up about that, or like some gossip shit that I really don't give two fucks about anyway. You know what I mean? So it's nuanced. So yes and no. I do think it would be dope to do a show that was like more music focused.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, because even before doing this, I mentioned to you, like, I thought it'd be a great idea to have some type of segmented piece where you, Ice, myself, Joe, whenever, get a chance to really speak to the in-depths of music and creation, and, you know, just, there's a lot of people that really want to hear that.
Yeah.
You ever see yourself just kind of stepping out of the shadow and just being in the forefront? Because I don't think there's many people who can speak about a multitude of topics as far as music goes and be as knowledgeable as you.
I do think that I definitely am in a rare, there's not many people in the podcast space that can talk music and have like the credits and credentials of experience to back it up, and also have the podcasting experience. So I do think that I could do it. I've just never been someone, I've always liked being, even with a music level, I never want to be like the star or the solo act. Like I would definitely do a show. I would like to do a show with one of the homies or two of the homies.
Right.
And I've tried to set up shows with, you know, some of my people behind the scenes, and it just is, it's difficult to do, yo. Again, everybody to be on the same page. Everyone's got their own lives, careers, or whatever, visions, desires. It's hard to do that, but I think in the right circumstance, I would love to do that. I think that show would be super fire. Even if it was just like a maybe review certain albums a year. It doesn't necessarily have to be a every week.
Schedule thing. Yeah. Special events.
Yeah.
I think that'd be dope. Have you ever had a moment where you lost a little bit of the passion for the music?
Man, that's a great question. No, not really. I do think that the passion is evolving though. Like lately I've been doing a lot of stuff with a couple of people's Jeremy and Gift in particular, and Rashid Chappelle's the artist that we're currently doing. We started off kind of making stuff to be like sample packs basically, but that market got really, really saturated. And now with AI, it's like I'm cool. But we've gotten really good at like making some shit that sounds fire, but with no samples. And I've always been a sample based kind of dude. So I guess to say it's evolved, and I'm still gonna dig through records and all that shit, but it's not the same. I want to try different shit. So the passion for just finding like a dope loop and have someone rap some gully shit over the top of it maybe is waning, but the passion to create music, well, I don't think that'll ever leave me. I don't really plan on ever retiring from music creation or some level of music, whether it's mixing or maybe get into some business level shit at some point. I don't think I'll ever lose that. I love it too much.
I definitely could see you at some point, you know, EPing other people's projects. Yeah, not like solely directed artists tied to you, but yeah, I could see you doing stuff like that. I'm also, I always thought that maybe you would have an artist. Like, I don't know if everyone wants to take on that, because I know that's a lot.
Yeah.
For most people to take on.
Yeah.
But because when I first met Gift,
yeah,
I was like, oh, that's Parks artist.
Right.
I didn't know that you guys were just collabing.
Yeah, we're more like partners than in our situation. I don't know that I want to do that. I've even had some opportunities where someone needs some, not Gift, but some other artists that I've known or worked with lose their management, and like, damn, I could probably manage them. But like, I don't know if I have the time ultimately, and I don't want to be of disservice to anybody. That's been my biggest reason, I guess, for not having an artist, is just being able to really devote the time to it. I don't worry about like the pressure, although that's part of it. You don't want to let someone down or like fuck up their career. But like, we pod 2, sometimes 3 days a week, all day. I have multiple big clients that I dedicate a lot of time to.
Uh-huh.
And then I have my own production shit that I'm doing. It's really hard to find the time to like truly manage an artist. But I do need to get better at kind of like putting my foot down in some situations as far as the artists I am collaborating with, because someone's got to be a bad guy and like, this is what the fuck we're doing. Like
You don't give off good bad guy.
I'm not good. I'm too open to ideas and collaboration sometimes where shit can end up getting a little frayed. And it's like, hey, bro, like, I hear you, but hey, I've been doing this. This is the way to do it. Or I think we should do it this way.
I got to get better at that. Is this something you feel like you're missing from your utility belt as far as music-wise? That Swiss Army knife. Mm-hmm. Is there something that you're missing on there at this point that you want to try to get locked in better at?
I've been talking to Jeremy a lot because we get together every Wednesday and create music together. And he's been like essentially taking lessons again. I think do like online kind of shit or whatever and just practicing scales and stuff like that. And that's definitely something that I need to get back to because I didn't start off doing that. I self-taught myself how to play guitar. And then I took some like piano classes in college just because you had to take something. So I did that. And then I was back to just chopping up samples and freestyle and shit. And then when I moved to New York, when I was working at the music shop, I got really heavy into just practicing because we were sitting in the fucking music store all day. So I was like, let me just practice scales and shit like that. And I got way better as a musician doing that. But then since that, I got away from it because it's back to we're fucking in studio, we're doing shit. And I need to get back to like some basic shit. But on keys and guitar both, like practicing. And that sounds super corny and boring, but that shit makes you so much better of a musician. So that's really I've dabbled in so many different things. This album I played the drums on the whole thing. So like I played bass, drums, and keys on the whole shit, and Jeremy's playing guitar. And I've always just like picked up different instruments or I've done more mastering as of late, which is a different skill set than mixing. So I have mad shit in my tool belt, but it's about, for me, it would be honing in on just playing again.
Not to get too personal.
Good.
How much has being married affected your like music life?
Thankfully, not a lot. But it has a little bit because you're no longer thinking for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if it were up to me, if I was just single or had a girlfriend, I would be in the studio way more. You know what I mean? Like, I try to now be done with shit by like 6:37 so we can sit down and have dinner and watch a show or two, and then maybe after 10 or 11 I can come down and fuck with some shit, but usually by then it's like I'm not
bad.
So it's definitely made my schedule like a little bit more like normal human, whereas before I'd just be in the studio all day every day. Fuck it, I can't do that, don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I want to spend time with my wife and be a human.
So since y'all been doing the pod while, it's always interesting because I won't say that you're private, but there's not a lot that you share on a day-to-day basis with the public as far as you go. And was that like kind of uncomfortable to introduce her to that? Just first off, the forum that we partake in, the viewers and the comments and all that can be crazy,
brutal,
fucked up, harsh. Were you ever worried about that having to affect her and how she would go about it? I mean, but she's been around this enough. Sat and watched the pod take place
for sure,
so she knows how it goes, but it's differently actually in the midst of it and having to deal with the negative comments or the critiques about your relationship.
I was worried about it. First of all, I don't think I'm that private. I just think I'm so casual about my open book shit that it comes off as private, but I be saying a lot of foul, crazy shit. It's like she gave me a pass a long time ago to talk about fucking bitches or whatever the fuck I was doing in the past. Right. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't think I'm that private. I just don't think that I dwell on things. I just say it and then we laugh and we keep it going. And I also don't deal with drama very much in my life. I don't know if that's like the Libra. I hate to get astrological, but I've had people say that's how Libras are. I don't really deal with drama. I separate myself from that shit.
Yeah.
So, and she is kind of the same way. So we're just not a very dramatic, fighty couple. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like I'm pretty open as far as the shit that we go through, and, you know, anything that would be not safe for work and shit. Like, I talk about that shit. I don't care about that shit. But in regards to putting her out in public, yeah, I was more, that was a her thing. If you're down to do it, let's do it. If you have trepidation about it, don't do it.
Right.
But she's been around long enough to see the comments, you know what I mean? And like, I think she was ready for it and okay with it because she's seen it kind of firsthand.
I guess we can do it as far as the music and the podcast space. What's the one thing that troubles you the most about both spaces, or your biggest worry? Like, what's your biggest worry as far as the music industry goes right now?
And then you can.
I was actually just talking to Halim about this in DMs, you know, and it was in reference to what I said on the podcast about the Clips album rollout situation, not to Deus, but I would just worry that the business itself is getting more focused on algorithms, and I think they're embracing AI, which is fine by me. I think it's a tool and we should embrace it and fun with it, but putting all your eggs in that basket, I think, is a really dangerous move, because we don't know what the copyright law is going to look like in a couple of years, because that is essentially sampling. AI is sampling. It's not making anything new. It's taking all of our shit and making something new out of it,
Right.
which is sampling. So I worry about like the business failing, because as much as we bash the major labels for ripping people off and all that stuff, there's nobody like them in terms of marketing and promotion and investment. We need them. And I worry that they're getting so focused on algorithmic shit and AI that it's not looking good. Yeah, they're making bad decisions. Looking at like letting the Clips go is a bad decision. And even the way that they treat their artists, they basically, unless it's someone massive, treat them like indie. You're basically indie. You're just signed to a label that's distributing it for you.
I mean, I felt like even with, like, we take Justin Bieber, for instance.
Yeah.
I feel like they treated him like they was his role. Should just throw it out. No real prep, no real, no glitz and glamour behind it. For
An A.
He's an A act.
And they're still not, it's been a week, not to date us again, but it's been a week and we're still not seeing shit. Like, you could even see like, all right, we're just going to throw it out and then we're going to go crazy in the next couple of weeks. We're still not even seeing that.
That's when it comes to go.
Yeah.
I think it's going to go.
It's going to come
and
in.
that's sad for an act of that stardom and all the things he's done before that to get that type of treatment. Now in this day and age, it's kind of like a slap in the face.
It's sad for the business entirely, because again, there's nowhere like the major label system as far as promotion and cutting big checks and putting people in certain positions. And yeah, it's someone's pushing the button, and yeah, there's a bunch of conspiracy theory shit that goes with it, but it's necessary. Because if everyone's just doing everything indie, that's tough. That's tough.
What about on the podcasting side? So like for me, even trying to jump into this, like my whole conversation with you before is like I didn't want to come out and be like typical podcasting.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. He's not saying that there isn't space for more podcasts, which exists, but I just think if you got to try to stand out, do something unique and something that's like yours, your own, so where you can at least try to capitalize off of it in a certain way. We're a part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So it's also now trying to think, okay, I'm learning so much on this side. I need to take some of this education on this side and put it to my own.
For sure.
What's some of the things that people need to be aware of and worried about within getting into this space?
It's funny. It's not a dissimilar situation from the music situation I just described, where I feel like a lot of podcasters are relying on algorithmic shit to come up with conversations. And it's not good. Like, I think that also, similar to music, the ease of which to do it allows anybody to do it, and it takes away, it doesn't highlight the fact that it's still an entertainment platform and it should be entertaining. Like, if anybody in the world can sit down and grab a mic and make something, say some wild shit, it will go kind of viral. Like, that's seen as a success, as opposed to like a wholly entertaining show. that is entertaining time and time again. So, like, even with Joe, people kind of get hard on him internally for, like, producing, but I respect that because he's trying to make an entertaining show time and time again. And it can't just be up there like, oh, what do you like to fuck like? You know, like, what you hate about?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Because when I first got on the podcast, I think I was more concerned with being right.
Right.
And it's like, okay, being right can be entertaining, but when you're so focused on just making sure that your point is proper, it takes away some of the entertainment value. So I also wanted to understand, hey, you can sometimes be wrong and still make that entertaining.
For sure.
At the end of the day, for me, this is another form of entertainment.
It is.
So I want to be able to still provide people with the same level of entertainment in my rights as well as in my wrongs. And I just feel like you said, a lot of people just want to talk and just want to get in front of the camera and feel like because either they know how to talk well or they feel like they're right enough, I can get a camera in front of me and I'm going to proffer. And it's like, okay, cool. Is it entertaining?
Right.
Like, do we want to see this on a regular basis?
People like having a self-assurance that they're always right is an entertaining part of the shit. So, like, you need someone that's just going to be like, no.
Oh, yeah, I'm right.
Yeah, you need like an ish. You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm fucking right. And I'm going to try to show you that I'm right. You need some of that. But, I don't know. I think it's just too easy to get miss the forest from the trees. I also think it boxes you in potentially, where like they use the terms like content creator and shit like that, and that cheapens. Even the word podcaster can sometimes cheapen. Like what we're doing is not really podcasting at this point. Like it's a fucking broadcast show.
I don't even like referring to myself as a podcaster. Yeah. I still label all of this as entertainment. So I just think I'm an entertainer.
That's what I do.
And I'm not about to go ahead and box it into broadcasting, podcasting, singing, whatever it is. If you're looking to be entertained, I'm going to find a way to entertain. For sure. And that's just how I've looked at it.
Me too. It's also, I remember back in the day, like when I first moved to New York, going out and trying to meet women and shit, you'd be like, oh, I'm a producer. I'd be like, hi.
Oh, you.
I used to lie. To the point, I'd be like, I work in insurance or some shit. And like, I would just make up some shit. Yeah. And now I feel like, I mean, I'm married, so it doesn't really matter, but running around like, oh, I'm a podcaster, it's like, hi, big dog. Yeah. Like, I bet you are.
You know, I don't, you might not have these thoughts, and I'm just weird like this, but you ever think about where your life would be right now if, let's just say, Joe and them didn't need to link with you for the stew? Like, when that whole moment happened of them working out in Jersey and whatever happened with the studio to where it's like, all right, well, let me hit Parks.
Right.
Did you ever have a moment in life where it was like, damn, what if that call didn't come through? Like,
of course, but it's funny. Like, I read the comments too, and, you know, people at me, yo, you wouldn't be nothing without Joe. You wouldn't be nothing without the pod. The only reason why you're getting next is people looking for a reason to validate why they're not.
Right.
Anyway, that aside, I had a career that I was happy with, and I was financially doing well in, and I had accolades.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been cool, bro. Like, granted, I love the success of the podcast. I love the income. Like, I'm not gonna front. We make good money. But I was cool. Like, I was comfortable in myself. I was comfortable in my career. I would still be mixing records for rap artists and whoever the fuck else, running around doing sessions. I would have been cool with that.
I think that needs to be highlighted because I don't think enough people know that there's certain people in life that you just know are going to figure it out.
Right.
No matter what.
I think you're one of them too. You have a career outside of Joe, outside of the podcast, all that shit.
Yeah, but, and you know, for those who don't see it, it just looks like you just popped in, and so I get that. But just in knowing you and just knowing everybody, like, it feels good to know that we're here because we were supposed to be here. No one, like, there's no level of I get nepotism.
Yeah.
Like, everyone worked hard for their spot. They got their spot. And even if they never got this spot, I'm confident knowing that every single person would be doing something great.
Absolutely.
So it's dope working in that atmosphere.
I'm also a regular dude. If I was like bartending, I would be okay with that. Like, I wouldn't be mad at that. I'm cool. Like, I'm not thirsty for fame or notoriety. I guess I'm thirsty for. I've always liked respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, He's nice. That has always been the itch that I love getting scratched. Outside of that, I don't really care about any of this other shit. Like, I don't care about being famous or fucking lauded or Parks Hives, salute. But it's not what I'm after, necessarily. It's nice, it's beautiful, but it's not what I'm thirsty for.
Now, before we end off, let's do something playful real quick. One word. Only one word.
Okay.
I'm just gonna name. I'm gonna give you a noun. Just give me something to put. Let's start. Let's start. Rem.
And I respond with one word.
One word. Rem.
Perfect.
Oh.
And I mean it.
Did you? Ian.
Clever. Clever.
Okay. Preem.
Rock.
Okay. Let's go Ish.
I don't mean it's offensive, Ish. Funny. I think Ish is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I know he gets, like, serious, but that's what's funny about it to me. I fucking think Ish is hilarious.
Corey.
Also funny, but I gotta think of a different. Mystery.
It's a little word.
Mystery.
It's a little word. YouTube.
YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
One word is hard. Great. I spend more time watching YouTube than any other thing in the world. I love YouTube.
Joe.
Misunderstood.
We'll end off. We'll end off with the rest of the cast. We'll Mel, Ish. I know you did Ish.
You did.
Mel, Ice, Mark, then myself.
Mel. Girl. She like embodies all of the things about like
Girl.
femininity. You know what I'm saying?
Femininity.
Yeah.
Okay, dope.
Ice. I used rock for free. Ice is just so solid of a fucking human being to me.
Solid.
I want to go with solid. I know I said rock for free, and it's kind of the same thing, but I don't really care.
Mark.
Mark. Chameleon. I think Mark can fit in any type of situation, and I think that he can find a way to express himself in different social circles and different, whether it's very serious or very educated or very funny, he finds a way to get in.
I like that.
Flip. It's 2 words. I want to say wild card. I don't know how to say unpredictable, I guess would be the
Joker.
Joker. Also hilarious. I love Flip. I think he's one of the most genuine human beings in I think that in any crew, you need the solid dude and you need the wild card. And then the rest of it can be whatever it is. But you need to have that
Foundation. They are foundation.
you need Chuck D with Flav. You need ODB with Method Man. You need to have
That's fine.
someone that's gonna do some. I had no idea this was gonna happen. Unpredictable. And social circles, business circles, entertainment circles. You need to have someone that's gonna just do some crazy shit.
I like that.
You need that.
That's dope.
And that's Flip.
Myself and then Poe. We got to throw Poe in there. And Key.
Oh,
We got to say, listen, I want to say that. I feel like everybody at some point, I don't think people understand how much goes into just the whole crew as a whole.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, even Erickson. Like, I feel like certain people don't get spoken about enough. And there should be moments where you at least tip our hat to them. So, like, people like Poe is unspoken.
He is.
Erickson is highly unspoken.
Super unspoken.
But he's like foundational piece to all of this shit.
Absolutely. Let me start with Poe. I know Poe. I met through Preem. I've known him for a really long time. I don't know how to say a one word thing. I'm proud of what Poe has become. He's always been interested in photography and shit like that. He's always been a really dope photographer, but he like had a day job and was kind of never jumped off the dock, jumped off the diving board, and he did it. And I can't be prouder of him. And he bodies it. Dope. I love his work. I don't know how I'd encapsulate that into one word. Keeb is like a backbone or like dirt, but not meaning dirty. Like it's just the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Like you need Keeb, and he's so fucking selfless.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would be the word I would use. Selfless.
Dope.
He does so much little shit that we don't notice. And he needs to be lauded for it. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't toured in a long time, but like touring,
I remember.
he was the greatest.
I remember that, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I have a different, not a different love, but I just have a different appreciation for certain people. And Key was one of those people. Like,
Yeah.
just know no matter what you're gonna. He's a great person. Like we're all great people. I never really have to say that about one specific person to make it seem like. But it's just different. It's just. There's not going to be a time where I see Keeb and not smile when I see
For sure, bro. It's always positive vibrations with him. You know what I'm saying? He'll talk your ear off about whatever you want to talk about. He'll listen.
I love the man.
He's the greatest. Erickson is like the silent. It's kind of the similar thing, but like he's so laid back and quiet and chill. It's funny to me that like Joe's always trying to like get him to get a camera on himself, and I don't know if he has ever turned up.
It's on back there.
I know it's on,
But he ain't using it.
he ain't using it. He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that. That's my dog, man. I forget. Do you?
Yeah, I think I'm last.
Yeah. Underappreciated, I think, in the podcast space. I'm talking about from the fans, from what I see, that they just label you in as like freaky or you know what I mean, like highlight some of the wild takes or whatever you may have. But I think that you come in and bring a different energy. I think that your mentality as far as the entertainment thing is I don't know if there's any besides Flip and Joe. I don't know if there's anybody else in the room that thinks about the show that way. So yeah, I would go with underappreciated by the fans. Not, I think internally we all dealt with appreciate you to the fullest.
No. Let's end out with
I forgot Savon Tanner.
Savon and Tanner.
Can't forget Savon.
Can't forget them.
And I would kind of lump them a little bit together because Tanner took what Savon's role is, and Savon kind of is. He helps in a different way, but it's kind of the same thing. Anyway, invaluable. They make my job so much easier. We talk for 3, sometimes 4 hours twice a day, and someone at 9 o'clock at night will be like, "Hey, take out that thing I said about Michael Jackson."
Mm-hmm.
And like, I have no idea when we said that. You know what I mean? It wasn't something like so and so is a fill in the blank bad word.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have wrote it down. It'll be just like some shit that seems completely harmless.
And they got that. They got that.
And they got, oh yeah, I was at 22:35, and I could just go right to it. Invaluable. I wouldn't be able to do it out there.
Last question. When do you think this should end? Like, I know at some point everything has to end at a certain point. Well, let me say, when should it? But there's so many iterations of the pod at this point. There's been add-ons, takeaways, more add-ons, stuff like that. Do you see it? Do you still see it processing to its growth, or do you see it starting to get to the tail end of what it?
I think we're kind of picking up steam, as crazy as that sounds. Like, and part of that is just the growth of the cast entirely is literally bigger. But I think that also reaches a bigger audience. I think adding Flip and Nell brought in different shit, both on the pod and in terms of their audiences. I think Mark also the same thing. I think you the same thing. I think it could be potentially a fairly, when does Howard Stern end? You know what I mean? It hasn't still. Like, I don't see this being that much different from that. It may change. People will come and go. It's just the fact of life. People get tired of it. Whatever. Hopefully not. I would like for it to just continue.
I don't know, but I don't think the consumer will get to that point. I do think I had to ask myself that question just internally, because me thinking, how long do I want to do a certain thing, right? And I was like, damn, I wonder how long Joe see this going for. And then I thought, I said, it's funny, I can see this pod not even being located in Jersey anymore. I can see it getting to a point where it's, it's whole different cast on one day and another cast or there's a time where he's shooting from LA or something, whatever that is. Like I've always seen it growing to similar to the Stern, in a way. Stern started with 2 people, grew, Jackie came in, John came in, Sal came in. It just started to grow in and out. To this day, he's still
podding,
still doing it. You know what I'm saying? I just always wonder what we thought about that, and I don't know if anyone else up there had that notion. I'm like, how long did we see this going?
It's funny, me and Joe were talking about that, and I think we we touched on it on the pod, probably Patreon at some point. I think Joe said something around 10 years, but I think it was, we change our minds every day. But Joe and I were talking about just like, I guess, retirement.
What does it look like?
What does it look like? And I was telling him, like, this almost feels like retirement compared to like when we were on the road fucking in Akron, Ohio, in a Tahoe, like driving to Wyoming next. Like, this is damn near retirement. I mean, of course it's not, but in comparison to the grind that we used to be on, it's really fucking hard to complain about this.
I think they have no clue what that grind was like. So even when I talk to people today and they're like, yo, like, how long were you at the pod? I'm like, well, shoot from this time. I got, damn. It's like, yo, bro, you have no idea. This is great.
Yeah.
This is a pleasure because I never want to go back to the other things I had to do to not even, first of all, to not even receive the type of accolade and the respect within the field.
Right.
But also, I mean, like you said, pays pretty well.
Right.
To not have to go ahead and deal with the natural hustle and bustle of just trying to be seen in the space.
For sure.
Yeah, man, I've always wondered what we all feel about that, and if that's also been a motivating factor of how we go about this business.
I just don't really like. He asked it. I think this probably was in the same conversation. I'm till the wheels fall off. I'm here, and I actually just enjoy it. So I don't need to retire. If there's a time where I am no longer useful, or they want me to move to a different role or something like that, I'm totally down for that.
Same.
But I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I think it's I liken it to like doing a live show. It's cathartic. I get the same nut that I get from creating music, honestly. It's just in a different way. So I'm in no hurry to go anywhere unless they need me to. So hopefully do the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be fucking old as shit.
2 wheels will off, man.
Long, gray, bald, fucking crazy.
Wheelchair.
Still talking about fucking in our 20s. War stories from our 20s.
Oh, God. I do not want to start doing that. And at a certain point, it's like, all right, bro. How many more times we talking about fucking in the next bed over? That's why, honestly, I try not to share too many stories about those days.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're so far removed from it, but some good times.
Some good time there, friend. Just have some good times.
Thank you, Parks, man. I'm glad we got a chance to do this. I personally think that you need to be heard more and not always in this form or whatever it is, but I feel like everything that you do should be highlighted. We don't highlight you enough. I mean, we speak high praise of you as a person, but
of course,
just within the musical space, podcasting space, for me, anytime that I've needed you in any type of way, you've been there. Hasn't been a likewise. So, Yeah, man. I look to you as a not competition, because I don't feel any competition, but I look to people like you and Joe and Flip, and even what Mel has been doing with her. Like, I look at it as like motivation to like keep up with those people.
Yeah.
For like, in order to get better, you gotta have people around you who are doing it at a high speed and
For sure.
just as good. So, yeah, man. Thank you for motivating. Thank you for being you. Thank you for allowing us to infiltrate your space and do all this fly shit. But yeah, man. Thanks.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, my girl.